All right, welcome to today's explainer. We've got a massive one today because by 2026, the landscape of the AI chip market has undergone an absolute paradigm shift. For years, the story of AI hardware was essentially just the story of one company's undisputed monopoly. But today, the trillion-dollar foundation of artificial intelligence is cracking wide open. We are looking at a fundamentally changed battlefield, and understanding this shift is absolutely crucial if you want to know where the future of technology is actually heading. So let me ask you a question that is basically defining the entire tech industry right now. Who is NVIDIA's absolute biggest threat in 2026? Okay, let's dive into this. Because if you've been following the classic merchant hardware battles, your first instinct might be to point at AMD, right? Or perhaps Intel. But actually, scratch that. Because the real threat subverts all of those traditional expectations. NVIDIA's greatest existential threat isn't coming from another merchant chipmaker at all. It's coming from their own biggest customers. We are witnessing the ultimate frenemy disruption. Section 1. The real AI chip war, the insourcing dynamic. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what this insourcing dynamic actually looks like on the ground. The hyperscalers, the massive cloud providers who usually buy NVIDIA chips by the absolute truckload, are aggressively transitioning from dependent clients into direct, formidable competitors. Look at the reality of the market share breakdown in 2026. Yeah, NVIDIA is still the heavyweight champion with roughly 78% of the revenue share. But the runner-up isn't AMD at 6% or Intel at 1%. It's custom ASICs, or application-specific integrated circuits, holding a commanding 15% revenue share. This custom silicon, built entirely in-house, is on track to represent nearly 28% of all accelerator server shipments. But we've got to look a little closer here, because there's a massive valuation disconnect happening. You see, these custom ASICs are treated as internal cost items. When a company like Google or Amazon deploys their own chips internally, they aren't selling them on the open market at some premium markup. They are just covering their costs. Because of this, raw revenue metrics actually flatter NVIDIA's true market share. Basically, on paper, NVIDIA's dominance looks way larger than its actual footprint in the world's data centers. Section 2. The custom silicon surge, growth beyond merchant GPUs. Let's look at the hard numbers, because the momentum here is staggering. According to May 2026 shipment data from TrendForce, custom ASICs are projected to grow by an explosive 44.6%. Compare that to the 16.1% growth rate of traditional merchant GPUs. That means custom silicon is growing at nearly triple the rate of general-purpose chips. This isn't just a side project for these tech giants anymore. It is the fastest growing competitive threat in the industry, and it is completely reshaping server architectures globally. Section 3. Enter the jalapeno disruption, the hyperscaler rebellion. So these tech giants are driven by a desperate need to slash massive operational expenses and eliminate critical supply chain vulnerabilities. Just look at this roster. We have Google, the pioneer here with their TPUs optimized for TensorFlow. We've got AWS deploying Trainium and Inferentia. Microsoft has stepped into the ring with Maya and Athena, and Meta is rolling out MTIA. Literally, every major player is building their own off-ramp away from a single vendor monopoly. And it's not just the cloud providers. Even the frontier AI labs are moving in this direction. Take OpenAI's custom inference chip, codenamed Jalapeno. And this brilliantly illustrates the direct challenge to NVIDIA. Jalapeno is specifically engineered to dramatically lower the immense computational costs of running large language models. By targeting inference, which is the phase where the AI actually generates answers for users, OpenAI is threatening to carve out one of NVIDIA's most lucrative business segments. But you might be wondering, who is actually building all these custom chips? Well, behind the scenes of this rebellion is a silent financial winner. Broadcom currently sits on an unprecedented $73 billion AI backlog, and they are targeting $100 billion in annual AI revenue by 2027. Let that sink in. $73 billion. They are the ultimate arms dealers in this war, co-designing and enabling these complex ASICs for the hyperscalers and labs alike. Section 4. Inference versus training, the Great Divide. To truly understand this battlefield, we have to recognize that the AI chip market is structurally segmented by task. Think of it like choosing the right tool for a job. Inference workloads are predictable, highly repetitive, and they run at massive scale. For that, you want a scalpel, something hyper-efficient and narrow. That is where ASICs dominate. But training a frontier model, that requires absolute architectural flexibility to handle rapidly changing algorithms. For that, you need a Swiss Army knife, and that is exactly where general-purpose GPUs still rule the day. Section 5. Limits of custom silicon. Why NVIDIA survives. Which brings us to a really vital question. If this ASIC surge is so massive, why hasn't it just wiped NVIDIA off the map? Well, it comes down to severe structural boundaries. ASICs are hard-coded, suffering from workload and rigidity. If the AI research community suddenly shifts to new math paradigms, say jumping to FP4 or FP6 precision formats, which are highly compressed ways of calculating math, an ASIC can become obsolete overnight. A general-purpose GPU, however, simply adapts with a software update. Plus, designing in-house chips requires multi-year execution and compounding capital costs that carry significant opportunity risk. Furthermore, hardware is really only half the story, so the crucial point is that NVIDIA has meticulously cultivated CUDA, their proprietary software ecosystem. This is their true fortress. With over 7.5 million developers, this software layer is heavily integrated into virtually all major AI frameworks, creating an impenetrable defensive moat and massive switching costs for competitors. Because of that flexibility and the sheer gravity of the CUDA ecosystem, NVIDIA remains firmly entrenched at the absolute frontier of AI training. They may be losing some ground in the high-volume inference market to custom ASICs, but when it comes to developing the next generation of advanced models, NVIDIA's platform is still the undeniable bedrock of the industry. No question. Section 6. The future of AI hardware, supply chains, and moats. Finally, let's move on and see how this builds into the physical realities of manufacturing. Designing a great chip is completely useless if you can't actually get it built. Securing leading-edge foundry capacity at TSMC for logic and advanced packaging, alongside high-bandwidth memory from SK Hynix, is the ultimate industry bottleneck right now. NVIDIA's ZIP manufacturing access tightly compounds with their massive scale, allowing them to secure supply lines that their competitors simply cannot match. The AI chip war of 2026 has proven that the era of the absolute hardware monopoly is over, completely disrupted by the very customers who helped build it. But as custom ASICs capture inference and NVIDIA aggressively defends the training frontier, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. In the trillion-dollar AI market of the future, is the ultimate winner the company that builds the best silicon or the company that controls the software and the workload? Think about that for a bit and keep learning.